Well, here we are. Thoughts from the office. Redneck's Pride Outdoors. I was just doing a post or going back and forth on a post with a good friend of mine, Tracker Dan. And I like those types of posts because he's adding his insight and I'm adding my insight, and we're talking back and forth. And even though it's him and me mainly talking back and forth on the mindsets or thoughts, everybody reading it is getting a broader picture of the topic. And it made me realize, it doesn't make me realize, I knew it, but I mean, it shows that we as individuals, people, we have something that we do and we do it good. But we develop our opinions, our thoughts, our mindsets, our understanding based on that bubble that we're good in. And you can't think out of that bubble because there's nothing absolute to think on. It's the only absolute you have is what's in that bubble. Now I'm going to talk about trapping issues, but this is the same thing whether you're a deer hunter or duck hunter or pheasant hunter or whatever it is. It's the same thing as outdoorsmen. You're in a bubble. You have that bubble that you live in, and unless you're forced to step out of that bubble, that is where your thoughts are. And you're good at doing what you're doing, so your thoughts, your mindsets, and your conclusions are correct. They're just not absolute for everything. And it's very easy for us to think, well, this is the only way to do it. The truth of the matter, it's not. I started giving trapping and wildlife control training, lectures, and seminars publicly, locally, regionally, within a 3-4 state area. Around between 1987, well, I started in 1987 and up until about 1995, 96, 97, I guess 97, 98, I started to give training, lectures, and seminars, what we would classify nationally. And I feel privileged and blessed both when I give a training out of state or a national training, lecture, or seminar. And this is me being truthful here. I feel blessed and privileged because there's not a time that I don't go and give one of these events that I don't come back with more knowledge than I gave out. The same thing is with the school. The South Jersey Trapping and Snare School will be given here in a couple weeks. I will leave the school with a broader mindset on some things than I did when I went in there. And the reason is when you're talking to people and you get people to exchange and to communicate and to have conversation, you start to see things outside your bubble. And depending on your pride issue, and you hear me say it, and I'm not afraid to say it, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. You have some people that just flat out say, you know what? You ain't going to teach me nothing. You're not going to show me nothing. I can't learn nothing. I know it all. I am. All right? And there are those. And at one time, I probably was one of those. Today, in all honesty, I am not one of those. So I can have a wide open mindset, if you will. So when somebody is saying something to me, I'm taking it at what they say. And one of the good things about having experience is you can pick out a BSer real fast. And somebody who knows what they're doing real fast. So you can pick them out real quick. A BSer is like 5 seconds into it on a real dumb BSer. If he's a real good BSer, it might be a minute or two, maybe 3 minutes, but you pick it out. You pick it out. But you can see the real deals. And at that point, I can listen to that person saying something, and I can start putting it into a category or into a realm, if you will, and say, you know, that will work here, and that will work there, and that will work over here. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have that mindset if it wasn't for 45 years of wildlife control, 50 years of trapping, and a lot of years talking to a lot of different types of people. And God's blessed me in that. God's blessed me with being able to have an open mind and listen, put it into a perspective. And I'll be honest with you, I've tried a lot of things that didn't work. And if they don't work, I just keep my mouth shut about it. Don't say nothing about it at all. And if it did work, you add it to your bubble. You see, I'm not afraid of trying new things or different things. You've heard me say it, you've heard me write it. A person usually needs a lot of interest or a lot of need to put the effort into learning something new. But wisdom is knowing you're going to need that down the road, so learn it now. That way you ain't got to learn it then when you don't have time to learn it. I changed it up a little bit just to add, whatever. I've got another saying. There's a fine line between somebody who is good and somebody who is really good at something. The person who is good at something will do what they need to do when they see they need to do it. The person who is really good will do what they need to do before they see they need to do it. You can say, I have sat down with a cup of coffee with people who are good, and at the same time, somebody's sitting there who is really good. And when we're having that conversation, there is nothing different. There is not one anything different. They do the same things. They think the same way. They use the same methods. They use the same tools. So what's the difference? That person who's really good, they see they need to do it before anybody else does. It's that simple. It's that simple. I've been told, Jonesy, you're more of a motivational speaker than a knowledge speaker, and I guess I probably is. Ain't good English, but I don't give a hoot. I guess I am. Because what I realize is this. We all start off at the same spot, at the same place. I don't care who you are. We did. We all started off at the same place. We didn't know nothing. And through trial and error and time and fumbling and bumbling and success and failure, we learned and got good. And this is where we change. Many of us get good and stay there. And the wise realize they need to get gooder. So, motivational speaking, preaching, do it, whatever you want to call it. Just some thoughts from an old redneck. On the outdoors. Probably most of you are going to say, tell you what, Jonesy, you're an idiot. My wife agrees with you a lot of times. Heck, I agree with you most of the time. I'll leave it there. Thoughts from the office, Redneck's Pride Outdoors.